And look, as a truck driver, I travel all across this country. And before I did my research, I already knew Towns County, Georgia is a sundown town. Then I said, wait, let me do more research and let me see if other black men were unalived in this county. And this is what I found.
A friend of mine just let me know that there is a horrible case out of Georgia, and I really hope you listen to this. This happy person right here is Travante Jamal Schubert Hilton. November 29th, 2023, he posted on Facebook that he was in a relationship, and by all accounts, everything seemed to be going great. That was until last week, when state investigators are now awaiting an autopsy result for the black man discovered hanging from a tree in a North Georgia forest. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations is still awaiting the autopsy results for the body of a man who was found hanging from a tree last week in North Georgia. A hiker found the body of 29-year-old Travante Jamal Schubert Hilton on the trail not far from High Shoals Falls in the Swallow Creek Wildfire Management Area on February 21st. And of course, they are saying that this was an isolated incident. A man hanging from a tree in the middle of a forest in Georgia. In a press release, GBI investigators stated that Schubert Hilton's death appears to be an isolated incident based on a preliminary investigation. State authorities also said Schubert Hilton was by himself at the wildlife management area. Of course they did.
And see, I told y'all this is why nothing is making sense about these twins, because they've been doing this. They've been getting away with this. They said this last year that this man unalived himself. That's not true. An investigation determined Travante Schubert Hilton was discovered by a hiker at the Swallow Creek Wildlife Management Area Wednesday afternoon. The hiker then called Towns County 911 to alert authorities about the man's death. And don't y'all find it kind of weird that they never mentioned this in the news? They didn't say, remember last year we had a man from a tree hanging from a tree and the same thing happened. A hiker found him. So a lot of people don't even know about this story. I just found out about this story last night. Make that make sense. And like I say, with all these cases, with both of these cases, they say a hiker found the bodies. Why we didn't see an interview of the hiker? Why is always a hiker and we never see the interview? Why is always some odd person or some random person that finds the bodies in these sundown towns? Make it make sense. And look, I'm going to tell you why we haven't heard from the hiker. We haven't had an interview, nothing, because it never was a hiker. These people in these sundown towns, they can tell you anything because they control the narrative. Scott Curlin, the firefighter, the volunteer firefighter that took pictures. If he took pictures, then why we can't find his social media? Matter of fact, why we haven't seen any pictures that he posted on social media? Make it make sense. And I did more research. Travante had a Caucasian girlfriend. And if you know anything about these sundown towns, if you have a Caucasian girlfriend and it's 93.2% Caucasian people that live there, 0.1% black people that live there, I'm telling you, they're gonna unalive you because they already know one black man can change that percentage. They already know those country Caucasian girls, they're addicted to black men. And look, one thing I know about those people, they will not allow a black man to come in and get all their women pregnant. They won't allow it. I'm telling you. And I think he already had a baby for one of them. So I'm telling you, that's what happened with the Travante case. And it never been solved. They said he did it to himself. Why the news never mentioned this? Why the news didn't say, oh, in this county, we had the same thing happen last year. A black man. It's only 0.1 black people in the county. And I'm going to be honest, I think the same thing happened with the twins. I'm not going to say for sure, but I think the same thing happened with them. I think they were set up by some Caucasian women just to unalive them. I'm telling you, this is what these people do. And in this country, if you want to find out what a town is about, what a county is about, just go back into their history. I'm telling you, it's going to tell you everything you need to know. And unfortunately, I don't think this case will be solved because these people have a history of enslaving our people. They have a history of harming our people. Check this out. Towns County is named after a slave owner. Yes, Towns County, Georgia, like other areas in the state, had a history of slavery, with enslaved people, primarily black, being held and worked on plantations and other labor roles. And the slave owner's name was George W. Towns. I'm telling you, they have a history. And it's not that many people that live in that county. It's a little over 13,000 people. You don't think they knew what happened? You don't think these people, they know their history? That's where they're from. They know they had slaves. These people don't like black people, so they would do anything to keep this story protected. They will hide this story. They'll throw firefighters at you and say, oh, he took pictures. Where are the pictures? What social media website he posted these pictures on? Because when I did my research, I couldn't even find his social media page. So what happened to it? And I'm gonna tell y'all this: the whole police department knows what happens to Travante and what happened to those twins. Not just the police department, the whole fire department know what happened to Travante and what happened to their twins. Matter of fact, they all crooks. Check this out. This article is from Fox 5 Atlanta. It was published March 19, 2025 at 11:03 a.m., which was yesterday. Another Towns County volunteer firefighter arrested for fraud, forgery, GBI says. A Towns County volunteer firefighter was arrested on fraud charges following an investigation by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Authorities arrest 55-year-old Wayne Canterbury of Hiawassee on March 17th, charging him with 2 counts of misdemeanor false statements or falsified records and 1 count of felony computer forgery. And again, why haven't the news said anything about this when they mentioned the twins? You can't trust these firefighters in that county. They all crooks. Just look at them. You can see the racism in their eyes. Both of them. Tell me I'm lying. And look, I'm going to be honest. When it comes to this dude, Scott, the volunteer firefighter who took the pictures, in my opinion, he did more than just take pictures, because you got to step back and use your common sense when you're dealing with these people. You got to step back and think. When Caucasian dudes go hunting, what do? When they unalive a deer, a big buck, what do? They take pictures with it and send it to all their friends. They post it on social media. So imagine if he caught 2 bodies. He caught twins. Imagine who he was sending it to. I'm telling you, he knows more than what they are telling us. They protected him. So look, to my people, it feels like we're going back to the 1950s. It's time to start protecting ourselves better. If you feel threatened by these people, protect yourself. Always be aware, because they get away with this stuff. They don't solve these type of crimes. I did so many videos about truck drivers, about black teens, about black men, black women being unalived in sundown towns, and nothing ever happens. And I always remind y'all about these movies. These movies are real. Like I say, the movie Get Out. They did the same thing they doing in real life. They using Caucasian women to attract black men, bring them into sundown towns, then they unalive them and they steal their organs. I'm telling you, this is happening in real life. So please protect yourself. To the elders, please put the young people, please put the young men on game. They can't chase every cat that's out there. They can't do it because it can cost them their lives. So, and I don't know if this happened to the twins. I don't know. But the sad part about it, we will never find out, because this is a sundown town. And this the last thing I'm going to say for you, little Scotty. You lucky you didn't choose a family that would stand on business about their loved ones, that would crash out about their loved ones. You're lucky, boy. I'm telling you. I'm out.